Hello, good morning, and welcome to forexforsteadyprofit.com. I use the Commitment of Traders report, which comes out every week on a Friday, and I need to give me an idea of market direction. I analyze the ratios of longs to shorts for the commercials and non-commercials, and I also look at the divergence on the pairs, and it gives me an idea of market direction. We'll just go and have a quick look at the charts. So here we have the Commitment of Traders information in its raw form. You get the non-commercial positions and the commercial positions, long and short, and then you get the change in open interest. And you also get that broken down underneath for longs and shorts for both the commercials and the non-commercials. And we can see this broken down into a graph over a period of time, which also gives us comparatives, which are also very useful to look back on the history. And so we'll go and do that right now. And here we have a graph of the positions over 52 weeks, that's a year, for the commitment of traders of the commercials and non-commercials. And this is for the Australian dollar. This chart is produced by COTbase.com. And you can see here where we got to a low position with the commercials, and we're completely opposite to the speculators, and they've got a long position, so we're short. You can see we had a big drop off in the price of the Australian dollar. Conversely, when we were at a high and very bullish for the commercials, and we were fairly bearish for the non-commercials, that we actually had a hike in the rise of the price of the Australian dollar. This is a very useful tool to be using, and we can show you other ways that we use it and other things that we do with it. So here we have the Australian dollar, US dollar, and we've got the RSI. Now if we put a trend line on the RSI and we wait for it to go above the 69.1 and come back down and cut through it, this gives us a sell signal. Now, this obviously would have been a very good sell signal here. We had a sell signal here indicating this big long fall that we've had. And quite recently, we've had a rise in the price of the Australian dollar, which is just going through the 50 here. And I'm expecting it to turn back down and cut through the trend line, which will give us another sell signal because we have an extreme position of short the commercials and long the non-commercials on the Commitment of Traders report, and this should be quite a long sustained downward trend, which is always very profitable. Last bit of information, this is Ludwig's divergence calculator, and it works really well, and this helps us with the crosses. These are the currencies against the US dollar, and here we have the crosses calculated, and it gives us a divergence value between the commercials and the non-commercials, and it shows some of the pairs that are of more interest than others. A very useful tool, only available on the Members Centre, and the pairs that are of most interest we do feature on the video on the Members Centre every day, so you get a daily video on those. Hello, good morning and welcome. It is Sunday the 22nd of October and it's just after 9 o'clock. We'll start as ever with the Australian dollar. What we look for on the Commitment of Traders is for this red line, the commercials, to have a large diversion against the speculators with the green line. We've had an extreme diversion over the last few weeks, and we're just seeing a move from the extreme diversion back down. So we've seen a bit of selling off of the Australian dollar. It's had a little bit of a correction over the last couple of weeks, but we can expect it to continue on down, and we expect the Commitment of Traders to move down towards the zero line, maybe just cross it. So we are expecting a big move down on that. British pound. As you can see from this chart, the British pound had quite a fall. This is a 3-year chart, and we got quite bullish on the commitment of traders. It's actually had a bit of a pullback the last 12 months, and now we're expecting it to continue on down. So we're quite bearish of the British pound at the moment from the commitment of traders report. Right, here we've got the euro, and this is a 3-year chart, and you can see when the commercials sold off, then the euro gained value. The euro loses value. The commercials buy the euro. So anyway, you can see coming along, this is the last move, and we have had an extreme. I was expecting a turning point at the 0 line. This basically just kept going, and now we have got an extreme short position for the commercials on the euro for, well, this is a 3-year chart, so it's way over that. We've got an overbought euro, and I am expecting quite a large fall in the price of the euro. It started to sell off. The commercials haven't actually sold off all that much, so I am expecting quite a big fall in the price of the euro. Right, here we have the Japanese yen. What we're looking for is these extreme positions. We had an extreme bearish position on the commitment of traders right at the beginning of the year, and we've seen the Japanese yen sell off. So we've got an extreme long position, and we see the Japanese yen gain strength. Again, we have an extreme long position with the speculators opposed, and we see the Japanese strength gain strength again here, and we've got it again now, and I am expecting to see the Japanese yen gain strength over the next few weeks. And here we are, we have the Swiss franc. Put this on a 2-year chart. I changed the time periods because sometimes it's easier to see exactly what's happening and where the extremes are occurring. Some pairs have an extreme that happens about every 3 months, whereas others have a longer period. So I extend the period just to show you, because unless you get the extremes in, you can't really see what's happening. So on the Swiss franc, obviously, we had an extreme bullish position here, a bullish extreme, and then way up you go, and we have buying of the Swiss franc. Then we had an extreme bearish position, and we fall back down. Extreme bullish position, and here this big lump out here, that looks like some speculators being knocked out on stop, and you get a big move. But basically, the Swiss franc has gone up again in price, and we're seeing it fall off now. So that the last few weeks we've seen a fall off in the price of the Swiss franc quite steeply, and you'll notice the commercials have gone bullish on the sell-off, whereas the speculators haven't gone that bearish on it. Now we haven't got an extreme at this point, so I'm thinking, if we have the DAX collapse or something disastrous happen, then you're going to see a big rise in the price of the Swiss franc, because it's a safe haven currency for the Eurozone. So I am fairly bullish of the Swiss franc, but I prefer it on the crosses. So that's where I stand with that one. And I right, dollar index. Uh, Same thing. This is a 2-year chart. Um, so we saw the dollar fall off. We had an extreme position on the commercials. It was an extreme bearish position with the speculators right opposite. And we saw the dollar fall off. And here we had an extreme long position. Now, I know it's still bearish, but it is an extreme long position compared to using the comparatives from the previous 6 months, etc. And we saw the dollar gain strength. And this is for about a 9-month period. Now, this is about 12 months that we have seen the dollar bears grab hold of it, and we've been bearish the dollar, and now we have got to the most extreme bullish position for the dollar that we've had for a long time. So we are now expecting to see the dollar gain strength. It's gone up a little bit too quickly the last couple of days. Well, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. So it's had a little bit of a pullback, but I'm expecting this still to sort of carry on long. Okay, Mexican peso. As you can see from the chart, we have extreme positions like this extreme bearish position here for the commercials down on the 0 line. As the commercials have added to their long position, so the candles have come down and the price of the peso has fallen. We then we fall down to this position, and actually the candles don't rise that much. Same again from this bearish position here. We get strength and the commercials become more bullish, and basically the price of the peseta falls. Now it goes from there, it goes down slightly, and basically we just more or less move sideways upwards on the candles until we get to an extreme overbought position, and then the candles fall quite sharply. This goes on. We get to this position here, and then we have a big upsurge in the price of the peseta. It's peso. It just it's just way overvalued. It's come down the last few weeks. It hit this high. Obviously, we had a high on the speculators as well. Sorry, so we got a low on the commercials, the red line here, and we had equal and opposite high bullishness on the speculators. And from here, we've started to fall off, and we've come down quite gently on the commercials, but we do expect this to continue. And I am expecting to get over the next few months back down to recent lows. So that's where we get with the peseta. Right, this is the Canadian dollar. We have an extreme long position taken by the commercials a few months back, and we started to move off that long position, and as we came down, so the Canadian dollar rose in value, and it went up and it made new highs. We've seen it sell off a bit from there over the last 2 or 3 weeks, but the commercials have only slightly sold some of their short positions. So I think this is going to fall quite heavily from here. So I'm expecting a big fall in the Canadian dollar. Right, so this is the last currency, the New Zealand dollar. As you can see, you get the commercials on the commitment of traders go to a fresh high here, and you get a fall off in the price of the New Zealand dollar. Again, you make a fresh low there up to a fresh high, and you get a fall off in the price of the New Zealand dollar. again there, same story here, same story, and now we have an oversold extreme. So it's an overpriced New Zealand dollar, and this has fallen off nicely, and I expect it to fall even further. I'm expecting it to fall the other side of the zero line, but we'll wait and see what happens. Usually these things, I mean, that was a massive bearish stance taken by the commercials, and I'm expecting a much bigger movement than we've already seen. So that's where we stand on that one. Crude oil. As we see, we've had this recent high up here, and we've come down, and now we've gone back up, and we've made another high, which looks like it's getting a little bit exhausted. We have got an opposite position between the commercials and the speculators on the commitment of traders. It isn't quite as extreme as I would have liked, but I do believe we're going to see some downside from here. And the other thing to note is it's a lower high. So I think basically from the period of the price going up here, I think we're now in a period of the price descending. So that's where I stand with that one. But we'll get on to the next. Silver. Well, this has had some really nice smooth moves. That was a really nice smooth move. We saw the commitment to traders, the commercials were completely opposite and at an extreme to the speculators. They moved down and the price moved nicely down. Not much of a move the other way on the graph, but we had quite a hike in the price. We got to an extreme position between the speculators and the commercials, and another nice smooth move down. We then had quite a big move back up, and we had quite a big move on the graph for the commercials. They got to an extreme position against the speculators, and then we had this nice move back down. We've had a little bit of a pullback, and again we've gone to a position not extreme but opposite to the speculators, and I am expecting to see a move to continue further down, especially with the continued rise in the price of the dollar. If the dollar goes up, the price of silver automatically comes down. So that's where I am with that. And we'll just have a quick look at the stocks. Okay, thank you. S&P 500. Because it is in an uptrend, basically what you would have been looking for with the commitment of traders report would have been these extreme positions here. So you've got an extreme over bullish commercials and extremely bearish speculators, and as it moves down, obviously you gain in price. Same again, bearish position on the chart, a bullish position for the commercials, and it goes up. Here again you've got a bullish position for the commercials, and you know, you get a gain and again. But where we are at the moment is I really think we're looking for a pullback from here. We're in quite a bearish position, and well, we'll see how that goes. Okay, cheers. Okay, so there you have it. Sorry it was fragmented a little bit, but it's the problem with putting the arrows on. So that there was a little bit of a change for the commitment of traders report this week. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, can't keep doing the same thing, got to do something a bit different. And hopefully see you on Monday with the daily video. Cheers, bye now.